Kia ora koutou, ko dia hau, haramai, welcome to today's Makerspace. We're going to be making some Lego Slingshot cars today, but before we do that, we're going to start with a quick brain teaser. Can you find the correct shadow? Pause if you need to. The answer is shadow A. It was pretty tricky. Okay, so welcome back. So as I said, we're going to be making some Lego Slingshot cars today. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a base plate, and we're going to need any pieces that you have to make a car. So the pieces that I have might be different to the pieces that you have. Either which way, it's not going to matter. What we may have to do is just to make some adjustments once you've made your car, and that will become apparent a bit further down the track. Okay, so we're just going to take a closer look at me making my car. Okay, so here are the pieces that I have. There's just one important thing that we need to note, and that is that your car will need to have something on the back of it that will be able to be pulled or pushed, as the case may be, which you will see. So we need some form of pullback on the back of your car. Okay, let's build. Okay, so there's our car. As you'll see, we've got a lever here that will be able to push back onto the slingshot that we are going to make. Okay, so now it's time to make our first slingshot mechanism. So I've got these pieces here, and the important piece is this piece here with the two holes in it. If you don't have something like this, I'm sure you'll be able to look through your box of Lego and find something appropriate once you see what we have made with it. So I'll just make one of these and then another. So I've got two flat 4x2 tiles. I'm going to pop this into that hole. That on there, and I'm going to make exactly the same on the other side. Okay, so now I've got my rubber band, and this is just one that I'm testing. It could be any rubber band, But in this case, we need to feed it through the first hole and loop it over that piece there. Okay. Then we're going to, I have this in the wrong hole, so we'll move that across. Loop it through the first hole. Feed it through, loop it over like so. Okay, and we're just going to put a little 3x2 brick on the top of that. Could be any size. Okay, so now we're going to take our base plate and we're going to put it down like so. And we're going to stretch the rubber band so it's quite springy. Let's see that. Across like so. Okay, so the idea is that you're going to push back on what we've made of the slingshot and you're going to let your car go. Now, if like me, you had a bit of a problem with the stopper up against the base plate, you might need to make some adjustments. You might need to make your car higher, or you might need to change this. So I had my little lever, I had mine under here, but there was no way that was going to travel. So I've placed mine now up on the top, and that will give me some pushback here. So there's a couple of different variables that we can look at, and that you can measure how your car travels through this slingshot method. So we can push it back a certain distance, say to where the tyres line up with the base plate, and we can let it go and measure how far it travels. We can adjust how tight the rubber band is by moving it further away, pulling back to the same place and seeing how far our car travels as well. So I would like you to do some investigation with different tensions on the rubber band that you have. The other variable is how far we pull the car back. The only difficulty may be is that if you take the car off the base plate, that it might struggle when it gets back on there. But we can always see that as well. What we're going to do now is, after you've done some investigation, we're going to change the slingshot mechanism. So for this example, I'm going to change the slingshot to be in front rather than at the back. So I'm going to remove this part we've made here, and I'm going to make something so we can put it on the front instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change this so it's facing up rather than facing down. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to attach it, hopefully, to the front here. Okay, so that is going to give me something to attach the rubber band to. I've still got my pullback mechanism on the back. So now I need something on the front. So I'm just using this circular piece. I'm going to attach it to the board like so. Now we're going to do the same thing with our rubber bands. The only thing being, on previous testing, that this is quite fragile. It usually doesn't want too much tension on the rubber band because it will tend to pull off like so. So what we're going to do in this example is I'm going to join two rubber bands together, loop them through each other, and then pull that one like so. So they've made a loop and joined together. So I'm going to loop it round here, the front of the car, and then loop it around there. And then my intention is to pull it back and let it go. There's just one problem. Can you see what it is? There is not enough coverage for the height of this vehicle to go over the stopper. So I'm going to change the height of my car so the undercarriage is higher so that this will pass over the top of the stopper. Okay, and it looks like we will be able to get over the top of that. So I pass the rubber band over the stopper, connect it to my car, pull back, and see how that goes. Over the stopper, over the car, pull back and release. This one might be a little bit trickier because the stopper has a tendency to pull out. Don't forget to use your pull back so your wheels don't fall off. Let it go. And it's still getting a little bit stuck, and that might be because of the rubber band as well. We'll try that again. Excellent. And see what's happening there is the rubber band isn't releasing it off the stopper. There might be a way you can think about how that might release. So which method worked better for you today? Was it the rubber band at the back, or was it the rubber band pulling forward at the front? We've got some slightly different scientific forces at work, but both are effective slingshot methods. But sometimes like Makerspace, it's a little bit of investigation and seeing what works for you and seeing what works for the design that you have created. For mine, it was the pullback method. The main thing is that you've had some fun today, you've done some investigation, and you've had to change things up where things haven't gone quite right. That's the whole idea of Makerspace. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Ka kite anō.